The Kami and the Samurai. Next to the wise mountains grew a great forest of cherry trees. It was said that the most beautiful cherry blossoms in the entire world bloomed there. The local Kami had decided that nothing was more beautiful than the cherry blossom and so made hers the most beautiful of all cherry blossoms. She did this by making streams flow down from the great mountain nearby in the spring from the melting snow. This is not uncommon, but because of the height of the mountain the water that flowed down was a little bit colder and the cherry blossoms bloomed a little later than anywhere else, and it was this that made the difference. One morning late spring when the cherry blossoms just happened to be in bloom in that great forest, a samurai general called out. He was about to fight against the shogun's army that day, and though great was his military genius he had used all of his tricks and now saw the end to clear. A bird heard his calling and came down. The general said, "Dear bird, if you could only hear me and do what I ask. I have failed my daimyo, my wife and my son. If I am fortunate, I shall be given an honorable death in battle today. The shogun will not be merciful to my wife and child after I am gone because of what I have done. Please go, if you only could, and tell them to leave my home and make somehow for safety." With this the bird flew away. The general led his army out and his men, and they fought bravely for him, and not one in his army ran from the battle. The general was the last to die in a duel with the opposing general. As the general breathed his last breath, the bird arrived at his home and told his wife what her husband had said. The wife took her only child and ran from their home with nothing but their clothes on their back. As they left, soldiers from the shogun arrived, but it was too late to catch them. The mother and her son hid in the mountains for several months, living off what they could find and the child's begging. One day in the pass came a great daimyo. The son came forward to beg. The daimyo asked, "Who are you, child?" "I am nothing more than a beggar who must do this to feed my family." "And that is all?" "Yes." The daimyo closed his eyes and put his index fingers to the bridge of his nose. "I see. Then may I invite you and your family to dine with me tonight? A great daimyo as you, thank you for the offer. I will pass this along to my mother." "Thank you." The child ran home and told his mother everything. "Mother, we cannot go. The daimyo knows something. If he would find us out it would mean our death." "Yes, son, but if we were not to go it would just make the daimyo suspicious of us and then we would eventually be found out. No, we must go and hope that we can fool him." The two dressed and made ready their story that they had been working on since they had left their home. The daimyo himself greeted them and offered such hospitality as one would for the shogun or emperor himself. The mother offered the story they had come up with as best she could, and the daimyo nodded in assent and understanding. During the meal the daimyo secretly observed the child and tested him. So successful was he that only the child noticed, but the child continued as if he did not. The daimyo himself noticed that the child knew and proceeded as if the child did not. At the end of the meal the daimyo asked his son to show the child his koi pond. The child hesitated, knowing that that was the daimyo's way of separating him from his mother. His mother nodded accent, knowing there was no other recourse. The child left with the daimyo's son, and the daimyo turned to the mother. "I know you are lying to me." The mother looked down to her lap and said, "I do not know what you mean. Your son is not just some beggar. He is too well-mannered and intelligent for that. Now tell me the truth, and no harm shall come to you for the lie." The mother knew she could not hide the truth from the daimyo, and the mother told him who they were and how they came to the position they were in. The daimyo sat in silence during the explanation and for a little while longer. Then he spoke. "Your husband's reputation is known throughout the empire as one that is just and righteous. Your husband's course was right, though I could not at the time go overtly against the shogun. I am able to offer you refuge. You would have a place at my court as a lost cousin, and I will educate your son with my own. I should be able to keep you from the sight of the shogun, though he has spies everywhere." The mother nodded. At this moment the child and the daimyo's son returned. "Son, greet your lost cousin and her son. They will be joining us here." The mother took her place at court, and the child engrossed himself in his studies. The son and the child, in part because their ages were so close, became inseparable. They practiced their martial arts, poetry, and governance. The daimyo was so impressed with the child that he wanted to take him as his own. He called his own to him. "Son, what do you think of the child?" "I think he is intelligent, brave, and honorable. He is everything that a man could want from a son, brother, or friend." "So, then you would have no ill will of me adopting him?" "No. In fact, I already think of him as my own brother." With that, he adopted the child, and the sons, to celebrate, went outside for a ride. It was cherry blossom season, and the two stopped and looked upon the blossoms. A bird circled in the sky, and the sun said, "The cherry blossoms greet the day." "Knowing soon they must fall," replied the adopted son. "Come, no such thoughts today, true though they may be. Let us ride home and eat our first meal as true brothers." They did go home and ate well, and everyone rejoiced. The next morning the daimyo failed to be roused. Within a week he was dead. The physician said it was of natural causes. The son became daimyo, and he kept his adopted brother as an advisor. The next 2 years passed, but something ate at the adopted brother about his father's death. One night, a messenger came to him. "Most honorable brother of the daimyo, I have a message for you." He handed over the message. The brother read it and said, "Yes, take me to your master." He followed him into the village, into a small bedchamber. There lay the physician who administered to his father. "I must ask your forgiveness." "For what, physician?" "The old daimyo's death was not natural." "What do you mean?" "I poisoned him by order of the shogun. I had to unburden myself before my death. Please do not blame me." "No, I do not blame you. If it were not you, the shogun would have found someone else, but why?" "That I do not know." He ran back home to his brother and said, "I just came from our father's physician's deathbed. He confessed he had killed him by the shogun's orders." "I know." "You know? How long have you known?" "From the time it happened." "And you did nothing?" "What could I do? We could not resist the power of the shogun. We would both die and our line would end. I had to distance myself from him so the line could continue." "You are a coward. Do not say that, brother, and please do not do what you have going through your head. I will raise an army and defeat the shogun and you if necessary. Join me, brother." "No, I cannot." "Then I hope we will not meet again." He went to the Wise Mountains and raised an army as best he could. The shogun called the daimyo to him. "Are you a loyal daimyo?" "Yes, my shogun." "You know why I ask?" "Your father was traitor to me, and your brother now raises an army to fight me." "Yes, I am loyal." "How may I prove it to you?" "You must lead an army and defeat your brother and bring him to me alive if possible." "Can you do this?" "I will, my shogun." "Do this and your loyalty will be proved. Go now." The daimyo raised and led the shogun's army to the Wise Mountains where his brother was waiting. The brother, on seeing the army, moved down the mountain to give battle to his brother and the shogun army the next day. In the morning the two armies moved into place. It was spring and the cherry blossoms were again blooming. The armies closed, but the shogun's army had more experience, and though the brother army fought hard, they were cut down until just the brother was left. The daimyo then gave the order that his brother was not to be harmed. The brother ran to and fro in the stream with his sword in his hand and blood on his face and armor, trying to find someone to fight him and give him a good death. The daimyo descended from his horse and walked to the stream behind the brother. The brother, exhausted from a long battle, fell to his knees in the stream and looked at the sky and dropped his sword. "Brother, surrender to the shogun and come back to him with me." "No, brother. I cannot go back with you to him and receive his judgment of me. He no longer holds that right after what he has done to both my fathers." A bird flew down from the cherry trees, and the brother spoke to it. "Kami, fly now. You have looked after my family long enough. Go, the line will end here." The bird then turned and flew back to the wise mountains where it had started. The brother followed it till it disappeared and then looked at the cherry blossoms next to the stream and said, "The cherry blossoms greet the day." He picked up his sword, turned around and started to run at his brother. The daimyo pulled an arrow and let it loose and said, "Knowing soon they must fall."